Okay, now I'm going to show you now basically a small brewer, compost tea brewer or extractor, and these are fantastic little devices. Just to lift it up, it's fully loaded. Everything that you would get with the brewer is inside, and so we have opening the top. You might notice, I don't know if you can see that, but you might notice that we have these little holes cut here. Now that is for the pipe, the aeration system, and I'll show you that in a moment. Inside this particular kit comes with 2.5 to 3 litres of premium compost, which again has a tick of approval from Soil Food Web Institute. Lovely dark chocolate brown compost, not black, so it hasn't been cooked. It's high in humates, high in fulvics, and normally pretty good in regards to the biological aspects of it. Now, let's put this to the side here. Also with this particular kit comes a 2.5 litre kelp, liquid kelp. Now this particular liquid kelp is Australian. It has 3 to 4 different types of kelp powders in there, both warm water and cold water kelps. It also has some humates, humic acids in there, and a few other bits and pieces, and works really well when we're trying to feed the diversity of bacteria. An excellent food source, and a basic input that we always use when we make our teas. We'll see here, this is the compost, this is the hydrolysate, fish hydrolysate, 2.5 litres, which comes with the kit. Again, has a tick of approval, as does the kelp. Again, one of the 3 base inputs that we use when we make a tea, which is fish hydrolysate, good quality fish hydrolysate, and also liquid kelp, good quality kelp. We have 1 litre of blackstrap molasses. This particular brand is organic, and it's fantastic blackstrap molasses. A little bit more expensive than most blackstrap molasses, but the quality of it is extremely good. And you see it has a little handle. 1 litre. Again, comes with the kit. Organic. We also have, of course, the compost tea bag, the small one, with the little clips that I showed you earlier on. And again, extremely good bags, these. It saves a lot of hassle. Some people, when they make a tea or an extract, will put the compost in the actual bin, which is fine. It still works pretty well, but the issue that you'll have is when you're filtrating it to use it on the garden or in the paddock or wherever you're going to apply it to. If you're just putting it out in a can, a watering can without a nozzle on the end, that's probably going to be okay. But if it has a nozzle, then we're going to have problems because we're just going to get the larger organic material that's going to block it up. If it's coming through nozzles, it's going to block it up. 450 microns, so nothing larger than that will come through. Okay. We also have a book, the Compost Tea Brew Manual, which comes with the kit also, written by Dr. Elaine Ingham. And it's a very good book. Doesn't give you all the answers, but it gives you a really good guide in regards to how to make compost tea. And the effects that some of the results they've seen over the years, etc., etc., etc. Okay, so we also have the aeration system. Very simple, all pulls apart so it can be cleaned, and you can see here, all PVC, and it can be cleaned very easily just by water, just by putting it in some water or giving it a quick scrub. or you may use a weak solution of bleach in water, just soak it overnight. You'll see in the bottom there, hopefully you can see that. We have holes all staggered along. And again, this particular brewer has a tick of approval. We've been using this particular brewer for many years now, and it works very well for the smaller areas, patios, backyards, 1 to 2 acres. Okay, so we just put that there. We also have the aeration pipe that runs from the pump to the aeration piping. And pretty simple. Again, these are all being made to be very easily pulled apart and to also be easily cleaned. Now, generally you won't have to clean this section because this is above the water. And you can see this part will go on to the pump, and this part here just pushes into the elbow as such, goes then on to the air pipe as such, and voila, simple as that. This particular brewer has a pump that will do up to 200 litres, or it does 200 litres per minute. Probably a little bit of an overkill for this size, but you know you're going to get excellent aeration, and the extra air allows for a better extraction when you're actually making extract compared to compost tea. So 200 litre a minute pump. This container is on wheels, so it can be pushed around, which is fantastic. You can quite easily drill a hole in here and put a tap in if you wish to. But obviously you must be able to get it out. So either you have to have it up a little bit high to put a container underneath to get it out, or you would put a pump, a water pump connection onto there and pump it out into wherever you want to pump it out into. It does about 55 to 60 litres, but we normally only brew about 40 litres because I like to allow a bit of air space up the top of yay height for a number of reasons. One is that when the compost tea is brewing, and if you have a really active tea, you'll find you will get a lot of bubbles or a lot of foam. You possibly can get a lot of foam. So that just allows a bit of space for that foam to live in, if you like, as it's bubbling away, so it just doesn't come over the top, which have happened to me on a number of occasions. And also, it also allows to add some more water if need be. Okay, the reason why you may want to add some more water is that possibly the compost tea, if you're making tea, has become a little bit anaerobic. You can smell it. It just allows you to add a little bit more water to it, or if the bubbles really are, and the foam is really foaming up high, you can add a little bit of water to it, or a little bit of organic oil, something like pumpkin oil, or even small amounts of a little bit more fish. Believe it or not, the fish actually changes the viscosity of the water, which changes the foaming aspect of the water. You'll find that the foam will drop down a little bit. But if you're going to add more fish, then you need to add a little bit more water, because normally that means that you're adding more foods. And when you add more foods, you're giving the ability for the microbes, the biology in the liquid to breed up even more. So that's another reason why we add more water, is because if we've added more water, we've got more space for air in there. But obviously the real test to see how anaerobic it is or aerobic it is by looking at it under a microscope. Okay, so we just take the little, excuse me for a moment, we'll just take the little air blower out. Put that over here. Now, you can see here that our pipe, very simply, just sits in here, snugly fits. Okay. We then would fill up our container of water, put our compost in the bag that we have here. We have a couple of little plastic adjustable tags here. Put it inside. Remember the clips that we've got on here? Simply clip it on there. Come over to this side. Clip it onto there. Fill it up with water. Add our foods. Connect. Obviously this is all undone. This is pulled apart. Close our lid. You see here, that's why those little gaps are there. So our aeration pipe sits out the top. Excuse me. Put that on top. That then will go to your air blower. Turn your air blower on, and that's it. 10 minutes it takes, basically 10-15 minutes to start a brew. And then we allow it to do its thing, and ultimately you would test the quality of your brew, whether it's an extract or a tea, via the microscope, which Soil Food Web Institute can train you how to do. And it's a very powerful tool to use as a microscope. It allows you to not only look at your tea or your extract, to look at the diversity you have in there in regards to what you've brewed up from the compost, but it also allows you to look at your compost. If you know the techniques, it allows you to look at the soil, gives you an indication, and we teach you the concepts of poor, average, good, very good, and excellent teas and extracts, which then transverses to how much you should basically apply to a given area. Also, we have a look at, from an extract point of view, we can see what's in there. So if you don't know the difference between a compost tea and a compost extract, it's very simple. One is breeding up organisms in the liquid to have really high numbers of those organisms, and hopefully some really good diversity of bacteria and fungi and protozoa, etc. Whereas an extract is basically extracting the organisms that are on the compost, but not feeding them in the liquid to breed them up in numbers. We're just wanting them to come out and live freely in the liquid, and then from there we would then put it into a container to apply it to wherever you want to apply it to, whether again it's the garden, pot plants, paddocks, wherever. And then as we're applying it, we put the food sources such as the kelp, molasses, and your fish hydrolysate and whatever else you want to use, out with them at that time, as compared to a tea where we're putting those food sources into the vessel with the liquid, with the compost in the bag, to extract the organisms off the bag and breed up in the actual tea or in the liquid itself. Okay, so that's just a quick synopsis of the Brewer and what you get with it.